Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Skill RPA. So in the previous video we discussed about types of documents, and now let us try to understand the document understanding. What are the different phases we will be having, and why actually the document understanding is. See, the document understanding is to extract the information out of the document into a meaningful manner, like how we want to use it further. So, what are the different phases we will be having in this document understanding? The first phase will be digitization, and the second is classification, and the third is extraction. So, the major phases of document understanding, in order to extract the information from the document, so we need these three phases. And the digitization, what actually the digitization? Converting the document to machine readable or machine understandable. So this we call it as a digitization. So digitization doesn't only mean we are converting the OCR or a scanned document to the digital document. So the digitization itself means like extraction of the text from a document, whether it is a digital or a scanned. So extracting the text, the text in the sense the complete text. The extraction is different and the extraction of the text is different, like the complete text and DOM of the document. So what actually the DOM means? Document object model. So document object model, okay. So the document object model. So what digitization will give us is it will return the text whatever we have on the document and also the document object model of it. In case if it is a scanned, we'll use the OCR for that. And if it is a digital, we won't use any OCR for that. And now what actually the DOM? DOM is something that which actually we got it from the web pages or HTML kind of. Actually it was drawn from there, and what actually it will do is it will convert our document with its metadata, so that it will be we can say text and its positions, we can say. So that's what actually we call it as a document object model, and the digitization is going to do that for us. And this is the first phase of any document processing. And the classification, classifying the type or category of document. So the classification means the classification of the type of document or the category of the document. Let us suppose if we have, let us suppose if we have an invoice or a receipt or we have a legal document or we have a purchase order. So based on the document type and the purpose it is serving, this classification will be done, and the classification can be done with the help of taxonomy. So before we are starting with these steps, we'll define the taxonomy, and this taxonomy is going to help us to classify the data, the type of document, and we'll see more detail in the taxonomy when we are discussing about the taxonomy separately. And because see, when we come to the steps, we will be having this taxonomy, but in the phases, like some people will consider, but from my side, I never consider the taxonomy as the phase for any like under this document understanding. I'll consider it as a step, a prerequisite for doing all this document understanding or data extraction. So the extraction is extracting the required information from documents. See, why I'm specifying the required information is because the extraction of the text means like we can use the read PDF activity directly instead of going for this document understanding. So the extraction here means extraction of the required information out of the document. For invoices, it can be the invoice number or invoice amount in such a manner, like whatever the fields we want to extract from the targeting document. So here taxonomy will help us to extract the required fields, which means extraction will be performed for the fields defined in the taxonomy. So these are the three different phases we will be having under the document understanding, and the classification can have some subfields as well. So not subfields, we can say types of classifications. It can be a keyword based classification, and it can be a regex based classifier, regex based classification, or we can say intelligent keyword based classifier, or machine learning based classification. So these three are the major classifiers we will be using under the document understanding, and there is another classifier as well, which is flexi capture classifier, and that is related to ABI flexi capture. Not it's nowhere related to the document understanding, though you'll see under this, because uipath will be supporting the ABI flexi capture as well, but for the intelligent OCR document activities, it will be available, but not for the document understanding. For these three are the classifiers will be having under the document understanding. Okay, and after this, there are some sub as well, like classification validation, classification trainer. So this classification is the classifying the type of document, and when it comes to the classification validation, just to validate whether the categorization is correctly made by the classifier, like we are using the keyword and intelligent and machine learning, right? So we need to make sure that that classifier is valid, classifying the document, type of the document properly. So that we call it as a classification validation. And in case if the valid classification is not correct, then we can train the classifier. So that we call it as a classification training. So these two more phases, steps we will be having. So it depends on our implementation. It's not necessary that every time when we implement the document understanding, we will be having this. And generally this we will be having in the subprod or training when we are training the models, or when we are trying to implement the document understanding, we'll be using this. So this is about the classification. And we have the data extraction. So even for the extraction also, we will be using the taxonomy in order to get the fields out of it. And we will be having type of extractors as well, like Regex based extractor, form extractor, intelligent form extractor, machine learning extractor, and we'll be having flexi capture as well, which is which we won't be dealing with that. So these are the extractors we will be having. So we will go in detail for each extractor as well. And so in the similar way, what we have in the classification, we will be having it the same for the extractors as well. So the extraction is done by our whatever the selected extractor we have, and after that we will be having data extraction validation. So we need to validate whether the data extraction is happened as expected or not. And then we will be having data extraction training. So in case if the data whatever we extracted, and once we validate that, and in case if some data is not as expected, then we can train our extractors as well, so that we can get some better results when the next execution. So these two are the additional phases of the extraction. So here the classification and the extraction both will work similar, whereas the classification is just to classify the type of document, and extraction is to extract the required information. And what we are going to do after completing all these three phases. So after completion of all these three phases, what actually we will do is we'll consume the data. So what actually do we mean by the consumption of the data? So we have done all our phases, we have gone through all the phases, and we got the data extracted. So we need to use that data for our process, right? Next to after extraction. In case if it is an invoice, we need to pay out for that. In case if it is a receipt, we just need to acknowledge our outgoing invoices, right? So that data consumption will be the next step for us. So these are the different phases we'll have when we are going with the document understanding. And this is post document understanding. Okay, and this step consumption of the data won't come under the document understanding. It will be after this document understanding. And what is pre-document understanding? Is defining taxonomy is our pre-document understanding. The reason is that same taxonomy we will be using for the classification and the extraction. And when I say this post document understanding, this is process wise, whereas this pre document understanding taxonomy is implementation. What is difference between these two? See, this is as per the process we are going to consume the data, and it is not the step of the this step is not at all involved under the document understanding. This will be under the process. Whereas the defining of the taxonomy is pre-document understanding means in order to perform the document understanding, we need to define this taxonomy. So this will be pre-implementation. So this is about the different phases what we are going to have under the document understanding. And in the next video, we will be seeing the importance of the taxonomy and how we can do the taxonomy definition, and we'll see how we can define different types of documents and the categorizations and each and every in detail for taxonomy. And thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to Skill RPA YouTube channel.